Inside Foos presents FoosTalk Live.
Over time, I've been building my castle of love.
So good.
Just for two, though you never knew it was of you. I've been dreaming. Oh my God!
Wow.
I'm just gonna fall in love over and over with myself.
You're in fine
Yeah.
voice. In fine voice tonight.
It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live. Coming to you live from the studios of Inside Foos, it's the 69th episode of FoosTalk Live. Brought to you by InsideFoos.com, offering monthly subscriptions with access to some of the most exciting matches ever recorded, plus live tournaments, pre- and post-show analysis, interviews, and original programming. Sign up now at InsideFoos.com. Also brought to you by ProtectoFlex, the world's premier foosball safety accessory. Go to Protecto-Flex.com. Also brought to you by 518 Prints, one of the best printers of promotional items, t-shirts, hoodies, and foosball apparel. Visit 518prints.com. Brought to you by Foosballers, the movie. This Joe Hessling, a foosball documentary, now available as a worldwide download at foosballersthemovie.com. And brought to you by the USTSO, helping to usher in a new era of competitive foosball. Become a member at usafoosball.com. And brought to you by Foosball Clubs USA, promoting foosball through school systems all over the United States. Visit foosballclubsusa.com and make a donation today. Well, hey there, it's Tom Robinson. We are back for another episode of FoosTalk Live, and we are absolutely live, no doubt about it. And of course, we're going to talk about foosball a lot this evening. And no better way to talk about foosball than with the greatest foosball play-by-play announcer of all time, if not the only foosball play-by-play announcer of all time, Jim Stevens. Hello, Jim.
Hi, Tom. Hi, everybody. If everybody could only know what goes on behind the scenes here and how up to the last second we are sometimes, right? And so, anyway, it is what it is. It's live radio, and that's why we love it. It's great to be here, Tom. 69th episode. That's, again, is remarkable. And and with so much coming up here, of course, Tornado Championships here in just a couple of weeks in Lexington, Kentucky. Just a lot going on, and a lot going on tonight as well.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, when you think about all the things just this last weekend, I know with our local Smashdown Inside Foos, that was there providing play-by-play announcing. Also, there was another tournament overseas. Which one was that, Jim?
That was Austria, a very nice Garlando event there that we had a chance to spend a little bit of time at. And again, Inside Foos covering two tournaments here, both in the States and in Europe here this weekend.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
a lot going on and exciting for sure.
I know that a lot of the guys at the 518 Foosball Club here that do the Smashdown, they were thrilled. They just loved the play-by-play. So let's do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
And just to let you know, for those in the future that don't know, the word Albany is pronounced Albany.
Yeah, and that reminds me, Keith Glenn did such a great job, such a long day of play-by-play, and of course, Keith kind of bringing Keith along as sort of the next maybe great play-by-play announcer, and so it's a lot of fun to hear him develop, and of course, great experience for him. And Adam Gilson, our good friend Adam. Before we go further on Adam, though, we got to bring somebody else in here, don't we?
I know. I would say that we've been poking fun at him. He has not been able to defend himself very much of late, so I think it's only fair we bring in our Inside Foos and FoosTalk Live official crooner. Please welcome Mark Torres. Hello, Mark.
No crooning. First of all, okay. First of all, it's Albany because the progenitor is from Albania. So you're Albanian, which is also albino, which explains your complexion, Tom. So there it is.
Wow.
For the crowd,
where did
everyone
you get that from?
Additionally,
you walked down the street and around a couple of corners on that one.
Yes,
well done.
Additionally, let's see here. I don't care. You guys have been talking smack because I just don't care. Like, I haven't listened to any of it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I love it.
don't
I
care.
love it. It's
So whatever you guys would say, it's been good. It's probably been honest and true.
well. I
Whatever
mean,
it was.
we just hope that you're okay, because last week you called in sick and there was no
Yeah.
explanation. I mean, did you test positive for COVID?
No, I tested negative. I actually did so. Not super funny, but there was some COVID out of the Bordeaux,
Oh,
and I got sick. But I tested negative,
huh.
which leads me to believe that the testing is still false. It was a false negative. I think I
Oh,
might have had COVID.
interesting.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
wow.
But hey,
Huh.
man, I don't want to I don't want to make science a science. And I tested negative. I know there's still some high percentage, like 30% false negatives that happen.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
I got better, and
Yeah.
here I am.
Yeah,
So-
dang, Mark. You know, as the Beatles said, of course, Beatles out of Great Britain. We'll be talking more about them tonight.
Yeah.
Don't bring me down, man. Don't bring me down.
I know. Here we are.
Don't bring me. No, I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to sing.
Oh.
Although, you know, in that opening, Mark, you sounded beautiful, and I spent like 2.5
Yes.
days in Austin, Texas, karaokeing with you, and I never heard that, Mark. That was brilliant.
Well,
He's
you
holding
were-
back.
You know, I probably sounded better. We had enough alcohol that I probably sounded like a Grammy. I am a Grammy nominee, by the way, in my own brain. Whatever. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, your Grammy, I'm sure nominated you for
Yes,
something. Your
she
Grammy
loves
too.
you. She loves
Probably
you.
both of them.
Oh man.
We digress.
Grammy.
No, but you know, we mentioned earlier the guy that has sat in a couple of times for Mark and has joined us as well. A kind of a rising star in the Inside Foos family, of course, Adam Gilson.
Yes.
And hey, guys, today is Adam's birthday. Happy birthday, Adam!
Right. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Sing it. Go ahead, Jim. Start off. You guys
Ready?
start it off. I'll come in and run.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Adam. All right, here we go. Happy birthday to you.
Like it's
Many
like one
happy
of the worst songs
returns.
ever written. Who like the whole
was
happy
amazing.
birthday thing? Oh my gosh!
Whew.
I mean, who writes a song in that kind of weird intonation?
No,
Yeah, it's so odd.
Scary,
It needs to
isn't
be-
it? It's scary. Pretty soon it's going to be like clowns. Do you remember when clowns were happy? Clowns are now just
Oh.
scary, and I think that's going to happen to Happy Birthday as well.
Don't like clowns.
Mm.
Don't like
well,
clowns.
Some of that is embedded in the consciousness because those weird ass paintings of the sad clowns with the
Yeah,
the
so
umbrellas
true.
that have
Yeah.
like so bizarre.
And those were done by a clown. You know, that should tell you something.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so-
I always thought those were like Norman
very Emmett
Rockwell. I
Kelly.
thought that was like Norman Rockwell on a bad stretch. but
Norman,
they weren't. Was
yeah.
He took the
Yeah,
wrong.
Norman Rockwell never had a bad stretch, Mark. Even during the Depression, he was on his game.
it? Sad clowns are creepy because those flipping paintings. Anyway,
It's
Yeah.
Stephen King. I'm pretty sure. All right. Anyway,
Tom, why can't you get control of this thing?
I don't
Tom?
know, man.
Get
I
control,
mean,
dude.
you just walk away. Okay, just fine. We'll continue. No, I don't know about you guys, but I am thirsty. What Jim and I like to do right about this time is to reveal our favorite IPA. Well, last week I really grossed you guys out with my peanut butter shake. I won't do that again this week. So, Jim, what?
are you sure? No, I'm going with a kind of an old favorite, but sort of a new one as well. You know, there's a brewery, an outstanding brewery in Bend, Oregon, which is on the east side. I believe it's the Cascade Mountains,
Oregon?
Portland, and the coast being in Oregon. Yes, and they do great work. They're nationally distributed, but for a national brewery, the Deschutes Brewery is really good. And I've had their fresh squeezed. In this
Ooh.
case, I'm having their hazy squeezed.
Nice.
Which is actually might be even a little bit better. Really enjoyable beer. A little bit malty, which is kind of nice when you're talking about a hazy. Has a really great color and a beautiful finish. So for me tonight, it's the hazy squeeze.
Ooh, sounds delicious.
Actually, the hazy squeeze, fresh haze is what it is.
It's the hazies.
Out of
I think are the most
out of
tasty.
Deschutes.
Yeah, there's a lot of hazies out there that I really dig, for sure. And what's the percentage of alcohol again?
This one's 7.2
Oh.
percent alcohol.
Oh, yeah, so we're going to stay mild tonight. By the way, I'm going Edgar Allan Poe. No peanut butter shake this week, but this one is called Riot of the Crows. And it comes to us from Timber Ales of North Haven, Connecticut, 7% alcohol, and it's got a really spooky looking front cover. But Riot of the Crows, and here we go. All right, pop the top, and
you do know what they call a
Oh.
flock of crows, correct?
a murder of crows.
A murder of crows. That's
Yes,
correct.
Murder of Crows. This actually is pretty stout. This is very hoppy. Wow. Mm.
In a good way, I hope.
In a good way. Yeah, in a good way. It's it ain't peanut butter shake, I'll tell you that. Wow. That is something else.
Mark, just to extend this segment a little longer,
yes.
What are you drinking?
This whole, I wonder if people have caught on by now. This whole segment is just enabling you guys to catch a buzz while you're working. And there's a whole thing you guys can partake while working.
Doesn't every radio show do that, though, Mark?
Yeah, I think so.
My wife brought me a glass of something with like a froth on it, and she just hands me stuff, and I just drink it. I thought it was hot chocolate. I have no idea what this is. It has like a cinnamony. I gotta ask her, what the hell did you give me? She could be trying to poison me right now, and I'm just drinking it. So it's a frothy cinnamon thing.
What does it say?
I don't know what it's a frothy thing with cinnamon or something. I thought it was a hot chocolate. I have no idea.
And she would not give you caffeine at 8:11 p.m.
Oh,
no,
yeah, please.
It's probably mercury.
Please.
It's probably salt mercury.
Chance of it, I'd say, yeah.
Now,
oh man! So
now we do have to toast, of course.
Sounds delicious.
We have to present a toast to, first of all, to our birthday boy, Adam Gilson. You know, the latest member of the family. He's what is he? 16, 17?
You know, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be, I want to say that today is
40.
It is 40.
Yes. 40. Okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's a big
Sorry,
one.
Adam.
Yeah.
He just seems he's very youthful. Let's put it that way.
Oh, isn't he though? He really is.
At the age of 40.
A very young 40, but 40.
Yeah. But here's to Adam, a toast.
Here's to you, buddy.
Our toast, yeah.
Our honor boy of the week.
What? Sorry. I'm just jumping in.
That's good. That's good.
No,
yeah.
Go ahead, Mark. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say a flock of, you guys talked about a murder of crows.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what a flock of seagulls do?
They ran. They ran so far away.
Right. They run so far away.
Look at it. We went right into that.
We're really stretching. Yeah, we're really stretching there. By the way, we are graced with two really good segments tonight when it comes to special guests. Paul Frogba from Manchester, England, is going to be with us to talk about his upcoming tournament in Manchester. And the First Family of Foosball is also going to be with us this evening. We are so psyched about that. It's going to be Terry, Keisha, and Sullivan Rue. Now,
we also have a flashback coming up. We also got that top five most interesting stories leading into the Tornado Championships. How about that?
Oh, I like that. So what do you say we take a look back in time with great moments in foosball history? This is a FoosTalk Live Flashback.
3-3, and Keisha able to take it away. Sends that one up the table, and Terry able to grab it. Great clear by Keisha, but a better catch by Rue. Looks for the lead. Terry Rue. And that one blocked by Hahn, but bounces back to Rue. Again, Rue. Strokes it home. It is championship point for Terry and Keisha Rue. Wow. Ryan Moore will look to send it down to one final ball. Do not believe it's win by two in the mixed doubles event. Ryan passes it through, sets it up, chokes it home. It's 4-4. Well, it's only fitting that a match like this should come down to one ball. Rue will get a possession. Terry does have timeouts remaining, but will he use one as he sets it up and looks for the win? Terry Rue strokes it home, and there it is. What a match, what a performance by Terry and Keisha Rue, who somehow, despite Ryan Moore at one time going 14 of 15, hold on to win the mixed doubles title.
Listen in next time for another great moment in foosball history. It's FoosTalk Live Flashback. Well, that is the family that plays together and, of course, stays together. That's fantastic. Terry and Keisha.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The family that plays together wins together in this case.
Yeah.
And I want to expand on that match a little bit. You heard me say there, I think Ryan Moore went 15 of 16 at one point. And they were just basically rolling them over. And there was a timeout, I think, midway maybe through the first game of the second set when they had a talk. Keisha and Terry had a talk. And they came out of that with a new resolve. Terry literally, because of the way Ryan was shooting and playing, Terry could not miss a pass, could not miss a shot or else. And he didn't down the stretch. It was really remarkable what they had to overcome. And what a great performance by those two, doing it as a married couple. How about that?
Right. And going toe-to-toe with Ryan Moore, no less. I mean, that's...
Yeah, and Jackie Hahn, who was probably at that time, certainly I think the number one rated lady player in the U.S. And so just a big-time performance by the Rues. That was 2015 Texas State Championships, and I think it's a match I'll always remember.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And of course, we had Tommy and Kathy on not too long ago, the other married couple who are in foosball and very successful. But I can't wait to hear, because now we've got the additional bonus of their daughter, Sullivan Rue, who's, well, just killing it out there. She's just accelerating through the ranks. It's fantastic.
Looking forward to that for sure. For sure. And looking forward to this too, upcoming here, the top 5 tonight.
Yes, I think that needless to say, this is going to be a challenge for both of you. I can't even call a winner at this point. Usually I could just say, well, Jim's going to win this, but
usually you guys do call the winner, by the way.
Right.
It's already called, but hey, whatever. I like the whole thing.
So now at least you're on equal footing tonight. So Mark and Jim, let's see what happens here.
Time once again for the FoosTalk Live Top 5.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's Jim Stevens and Mark Torres.
And Mark Torres this week is being played by Mark Torres.
Yeah, nice. Well, okay. So we're talking about stories going in, and this may be a little bit of a deflating topic, but we've got to deal with it. And I'm just going to put it out there. COVID Delta variant it's an issue, and it's impacting travel again, and it's putting some states on a watch list. And the story going in is, how impacting is it going to be on this tournament? Now, I don't want to be alarmist or draw concerns. I believe the tournament's going to happen. I'm just not sure. We just watched a tournament in Germany where they had to put up shields between the players.
Right.
So they put shields up between the players who were competing. The number 5 for me is COVID going to be limiting or detriment to how competition is played out at this tournament? So not really in the spirit of foosball and competitiveness and players, that kind of thing, but it is a story going in. It's still developing, and we're are we 3.5 weeks away? What are we, Jim? 3 weeks away at this point?
It's September 1st through 6th. Yeah, so we're getting close. Couple of weeks.
Yeah,
about 2.5 weeks. Yep.
And it's vaccinated states that seem to be having the most challenges. I don't want to get into a deep dive of what science is and how it works, but there are some challenges with vaccinations in certain states.
We do have a doctor on the show tonight, so you can.
Yeah, it's an ever evolving situation, no doubt about it. And in many cases, perhaps naturally, we are human. Maybe we got a little comfortable and a little relaxed a little bit. However, it's something that, as we've learned over the last year and a half, we've got to stay on our toes on this stuff. Things can change by the hour, by the minute.
Yeah,
and certainly by the day. So I think one day at a time, we'll see what happens. Right now, I think everyone is excited to go, and of course, we've had some success in terms of the tournaments that have happened so far. There's been a couple of if you want to say downsides, but all in all, I think again, it's just one day at a time. We'll see what happens. But Mark illuminated it beautifully.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to stick with foosball for my number 5. I'm interested. We're in the middle of something, in the middle of a stretch that we're going to look back on here 20, 30 years from now, or 10 years from now even, and say, man, that was a remarkable run, a remarkable accomplishment by a guy, 10 years from now that we're going to look back as, maybe the greatest American player certainly of all time. And that's saying something. And it's what Tony Sprademan is doing. He has won the last 5 Tornado World Championships in open singles. Has anybody ever done that? No. No one's ever done that. Fred never did it. Billy won 4, but never won 5 in a row, and he didn't win them all in a row either. So as we entered into this event, Tony going for 6 in a row, and in my mind, I don't think there's much question that he's going to get it. Right now, Tony is the best singles player. Tommy York right behind him, but we know how Tony can evolve. How Tony is going to respond to the challenge that he sees from young Tommy York Jr., and so it's going to be fascinating to see that matchup moving forward. And but for me right now, it's, can Tony win 6 in a row? at number 5.
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 4.
All right. My number 4 is, it's been fun. I've gone to 5 tournaments this year, starting with Portland Moneyball and Texas State and Beachtown Beatdown, Nationals, Bardo. Even when I was a foosball player playing all the time, I never went to 5 tournaments. It's the first time going to 5 tournaments. And going to 5 tournaments, I get to see things that I've never seen before. And it just gives me more information, more data. I've had the opportunity to watch Tommy Atkinson, who I think has been to every tournament I've been to, evolve from the Portland Moneyball tournament up into present. And there is a story going into the Tornado Championships. And the story is Tommy, he plays decent at Portland Moneyball, and he continues to play. He picks up his old world champion partner, Robert Mares, and they get blown out at Texas State. Like, it wasn't even, I forgot they were there. They got destroyed. Moving on to Bardo, and they take second. Yes, they take second at the Bardo. And now Tommy went to Colorado to stay with Robbie, and he's been spending, I don't know, he's going to spend a couple weeks there. They just won a world's warm-up against Kevin Romero and partner. I don't know who the partner was. They're practicing like they did back in the 90s together, and they've been building up and working up to something. And the question is going to be, all that work they're putting in as a team, all the knowledge and all the effort, they're going to be a threat at the World Championship. Now, whether they can put it all together, look, they're ascending to a certain spot, and it's very, very probable we see them deep in the bracket with a chance to win the whole thing. So I think going into the Tornado Championships, Robert Mars and Tommy Atkinson is my number 4.
Yeah, before the final down at the Bardo, I mean, we were super excited about the way these two guys were playing together. They were looking like 1996 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final came around, and Mares played an incredible match, and Atkinson basically ran out of gas. He didn't have it in the finals. But leading into that, we were looking at this team as, wow, this is a potential world championship winning team. And that's one, I don't have that on my top 5, but there are a couple others, Todd Lafredo. What's up with Todd Lafredo? Let's see if this incredible player, let's see if he's still that incredible player. Ryan Moore and Blake Robertson playing together, the 2019 multi-table world champions. How about Trevor Park? What we saw from him, the quality of the game from Trevor Park at Bardo was off the charts. We're talking about an absolute top 5 player if he plays like that, and I think he will. And so I don't have any of those in my top 5. My number 4 here, and it could be higher, I suppose, but it's Tommy Orr Jr. and I guess Brandon Moreland as well. What they did 2 years ago at the Tornado Championships was remarkable. And then, of course, Orr has continued his growth with that big double dip win over Tony Spreadman at Texas State this year. So we're all kind of sitting here in anticipation of Tommy Orr. You can't take your eyes off him. When this guy's playing, you want to go watch him. It's like Horton. It's like Spreadman and Pappas. These guys that everybody wants to flock to and watch. This is one of those guys. And so it's intriguing to think about the fact that hopefully, despite his inactivity of the last month and a half or 2 months because of school, hopefully he comes into this Tornado Championships as that Tommy Orr we saw at Texas, or the one we saw at 2019 when he and Brandon Moreland won the doubles championship. So I'm excited. When I think about watching Tommy Orr play, it kind of moves me to the edge of my seat. I get a kind of a tingling and just and really an anticipation of watching greatness in a very young developmental stage. So for me, number 4, Tommy Orr Jr., and of course Brandon Moreland as well. Never can forget about
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 3.
I wrote down my number 3. It just says Costa Rica. It's because there's a bunch of these dudes, and Kevin Romero and Brandon Munoz at the tip of the spear, for lack of a better description. Costa Rica is coming to town to play hard and to go home with hardware, all the way up the ranks from their rookies and their novice players and the veteran Carlos Cespedes Martinez. But Brandon and Kevin have had breakout tournaments here, right? We've seen Kevin and Terry Rue at third at the Nationals. And we saw Brandon open singles final with Tony. We see these guys climbing the ranks. And when you get 2 young talents like that who've been playing since childhood, and they're building and growing and developing and playing all the time, it culminates at this tournament. People work hard and they bring it all together at this tournament. these guys have been making statements all the whole year long. And so Costa Rica is coming to the Tornado Championships to bring gold home back to their country. And it may be Kevin bringing some back to Colorado, but he's a Costa Rican native. I got number 3. What's Costa Rica going to do at the Tornado Championships?
Yeah, it's funny. Mark and I don't always match up directly, although it's happened a few times. But that's not my number 3 as well. It's not only, of course, Brandon Munoz, who may be the most exciting player in the game. Kevin Romero playing at an extremely high level. But it's a bunch of the other guys. I know 3 or 4 years ago, they sent a team up from Costa Rica. And like Mark said, it stretched from rookie to amateur to expert to pro, all the way up. And they went home with a lot of gold medals, so to speak, a lot of first place trophies. They're just across the board solid. They have a lot of table time in, and they've had good direction. There's a whole bunch of them led by Brandon Munoz. So again, another guy, I mentioned Tommy Orr, but another guy that you just take notice of. And you can't take your eyes off the way this guy plays specifically in singles. And of course, what Kevin Romero has done all this year. Munoz and Romero, both right now, absolutely top 5, top 10 players on the Tornado Tour. So coming into this, the way they've played so far this season, the fact that Munoz is getting out there to almost every tour event, thanks to Carlos Cespedes Martinez, his doubles partner. But looking forward to watching what Costa Rica does across the board, led by the most exciting player in the sport, perhaps, at Brandon Munoz, and the ultra-talented Kevin Romero as well. So I also, Mark, have Costa Rica. What will Costa Rica do at number 3?
FoosTalk Live Top 5. Number 2.
Well, I've said this on this show more times than I can count, but it's a special thing when someone who is a second-generation Fooser has learned to play the right way from day one, has been playing since childhood, and is the hardest worker too. Those are all the variables. All those things culminate in special athletes. And so on my number 2, there is a young lady who's in her mid-20s who's the 2-time, 2-year in a row Tornado Women's Champion in singles and doubles. That's Midori Kimura. She's probably nowhere near her prime, and she's got a pending threat in front of her named Sullivan Rue. And Sullivan Rue is Rue. The last time we saw Sullivan play Midori, it was like a bad car accident, man. It was like, what just happened? I mean, Sully just like blew her out, man. It was so badly that Midori, and that was the last 2 times they played against each other, by the way. Midori was telling me, I got to get my table, man. So they're great friends, and they're great advocates, and they love each other as closely as 2 people can. Friends, I mean, but on the table, that's the singles competition is going to be between those 2 women at the Tornado Championships, barring some early intervention by someone we're not thinking of, or someone has a great tournament. I see Sully winning that event, and I see Sully winning the World Cup or the World Championship overseas too, multi-table. I see her doing both those things, and maybe that's kind of bullish and bold to say it today, but I don't see anyone who's going to stop her. I got Sullivan versus Midori at the Tornado Championships. Who's the number 1 Tornado women's singles player in the world?
This is getting scary, and no pressure for you, Sully, if you're listening. But no, I agree. I think that's the thing. They're teammates. They lost at the Nationals this year to Stacey Fowler and Shelley Langley, who just played a great finals match. But I'm not sure that Sully and Midori are going to lose again for a while as a doubles team. And then, as Mark said, I don't think there's any question they're going to meet each other in the singles final. There are other ladies, certainly, like Mark said, with a great match. Maybe an early knockoff or whatever. It could happen. We know it could happen. In the past, the women's side of things is always, different winners, different champions. There's not been a lot of consistency outside of, maybe Cindy Head and Moya Thielens for a stretch. But now we have consistency, and it's these 2 young ladies who are great friends, as Mark said, who are also teammates and an incredibly strong team. Again, that's the fact that Shelley and Stacey were able to win at the Nationals was an extraordinary accomplishment, because we're talking about 2 young ladies who are going to go down in history as multi-world champions. And as Mark said, I too have Sully kind of as the favorite going into the multi-table world championships next year. So yeah, my 2, number 2, we're identical again. It's Sully and Midori at number 2 for me.
FoosTalk Live proudly presents the Top 5. Number 1.
Well, Jim had this a little bit lower on his list, so I guess it's just for me. It's the most preoccupying thing for me, and I think you see certain things generationally. For example, many people don't know that Larry Holmes was Muhammad Ali's sparring partner,
Yeah,
and
that's
Larry
right.
Holmes, right? He rose up and beat Muhammad Ali. There was a mentor teacher thing, and the mentor grew up to beat the professor and eventually dominate the professor. And you see it in others. We see like other things too that people don't think about. Vladimir Kramnik was Gary Kasparov's student in chess, and Vladimir Kramnik was the one to overtake the master. Well, I think there's a similar narrative there with Tony Spredeman and Tommy York. And Tony is at the top of the mountain, and he took Tommy under his wing. He has taught Tommy. He gives Tommy guidance and coaching. After Tommy beats him, Tony will give him guidance and coaching. Tony sees weaknesses in Tommy's game and develops them. So Tony has, intentionally, consciously or not, created the monster by which he's got to deal with now, and I'm sure he's proud to take on the burden. But I think that Tommy's a severe threat to stop Tony's winning streak in open singles, and it'll be Tony's creation. So I love this going in. I think that those guys are headed like freight trains on the same tracks, and I think that the Tommy's already shown he could double dip Tony. That's a miraculous, and we're not talking about a small event. We're talking about Texas State. I don't know if Tommy can beat Tony at the Tornado Championships. I don't know that, but he's the only one who's had a shot in the past. Well, Ryan, of course, but Tommy has shown he can do it. He's shown he can do it multiple times. I think Tommy versus Tony is my number one story going into the Tornado Championships.
No, that's a good one. Of course, I kind of touched on, of course, Tommy York earlier, but that's a different topic, and I anticipated actually that you were going to come with that as number one, and I wanted to kind of jump on that, although I also never looked at it from that point of view. But it's that head-to-head matchup that is so intriguing, isn't it? Think about that, folks. In an open singles final at the Tornado Championships, to see Tommy York Jr. versus Tony Spredeman, remarkable. For me, I have a long career. My number one is I have a long career of covering the open side of things, the pro matches, the top players in the game. That's sort of what I've always focused on predominantly, and then that sort of will continue. But really, for me, the biggest story going in is the community. It's these incredible turnouts we have been getting. Texas State Nationals with just record turnouts on both of those, and people wanting to get back out, wanting to get out and play. Now, as Mark addressed in his number 5. We'll see. Is there a bump in the road coming? Yeah, maybe there is. There has been for the last year and a half. We'll see. But for me, the number one story is how the community has gotten out to these events. Even Bardo, outstanding turnout. Getting out there. Not just the pros, not just the great players, the Hall of Famers, et cetera, but everybody, all the way down from beginners all the way up to the pro division. And it's people coming out, wanting to play, wanting to see their friends, wanting to hang out, wanting to have a tournament experience, which is something that all of us feel very strongly about and deeply about. So for me, based on what I've seen so far out on tour, based on the involvement, based on the enthusiasm, based on the brotherhood kind of feel of it all, right? For me, going into this Tornado Championships, which I'm going to tell you now, folks, there are going to be all things. If everything goes smoothly in the next 2.5 weeks, there's going to be 600 plus players.
Yeah, there will be.
I'm confident of that, and it could even exceed 700. That's where we are with this, and so, and that's where we are also in the world of table soccer worldwide. We're starting to see Europe open up. We're going to talk about an event, the first event in Great Britain being held next week. We've seen some events in Austria and Germany, etc. As things open up, and hopefully safely. As I move into this Tornado Championships and I get to go into the front lines of that for a good solid week, I'm looking forward to hanging out with 700 of my closest friends. And that's kind of where this has led me this year. My number one is the outstanding involvement in the big turnouts we've had this year.
So,
it's a great one. I like that.
When was the last time we saw over 600 players at a single event?
In this country, it's been, I think, since probably the late 90s, early 2000s in Las Vegas. I think we had a couple in that range. Last 2019 Tornado Championships, I want to say, had about 585 players at that event. And so they were pushing it then. But we're where we are now, right, guys? And, and based on the numbers that we're seeing, on the analytics we're seeing moving into this tournament, I would be shocked if it's under 600.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, judging from the fact they've sold out the hotel and they're filling up one across the way, it sounds to me like, there's going to be an immense amount of people there. And let's hope that everybody stays healthy but has a great time. I'm really looking forward to it, and we'll all be there for this.
We will. That's going to be exciting. The whole Inside Foos team will be there, set up in Inside Foos Central back there in our own area, which we love, and it's got a great groove out there in the pit area, and it's a place to watch some great foosball. There really is, Mark. I'm sure you agree with that. The World Cup is fantastic, of course, best players in the world, multi-table format, etc. But when it comes down to the highest level of competition in the world, and I'm saying this without bias, it's the Tornado Championships. That is where you see the highest level of foosball played anywhere in the world.
Right.
Period.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be spectacular and a little overwhelming, I think, especially for those.
And you can watch it all at InsideFoos.com beginning of September 1st. We'll be there for almost a full week of coverage.
Yeah, looking forward to that, to say the least. Well, the other thing that's been going on of late with Inside Foos, of course, is all this remote play-by-play. Again, mentioning that happened yesterday in Clifton Park, New York, with the Smashdown. I think that was spectacular. I watched what Keith Glenn and Adam were able to do, and I was entertained, to say the least. And I think they did a wonderful job on the event. So we're looking forward to more of that. And I understand we're going to be heading across the pond again very soon. What is it? August 20th. Heading for the inaugural Froglife Tornado Open at Man Bites Frog. And the address, by the way, is 378 Barlow Moor Road, M21-8 in Manchester, England. And we're looking forward to...
love Manchester. I had a chance to work a tournament up there and really enjoyed it.
Oh, no kidding. So you actually did that live at one time?
Yeah.
On the spot.
Love Manchester.
Well, we are very lucky, and we're hoping that our communications are forming, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I believe, in England right now. But we have the promoter of the inaugural Froglife Tournament Tornado Open happening at Man Bites Frog. Paul Frogba, are you with us? Can you hear us, Paul?
Hello.
There you are.
Oh my God, it works, man! Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, hopefully we can talk a bit about the tournament rather than the intricacies of the Discord app.
Yeah, right.
Let's take a deep dive into Discord satisfaction. Right? No, man. Let's talk about the tournament, my friend. That's way better.
Good evening.
It's great to have you along, and thank you for staying up so late. Is it staying up late, or did you just get up early to be with us?
No, I stayed up a little later than normal. We played a little foosball tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, I finished a few hours back now. So yeah, I've just been busying myself with one thing and another.
Right.
But yeah, I'm a little sleepy, so forgive me. But hello everybody.
Yeah, no, it's great to have you on FoosTalk Live. So Paul, first of all, you mentioned you've been playing some foosball. Are you a pro level player?
First of all, my name's Dave. Nice to meet you.
Gotcha. So Dave Paul Frogba, I guess is that the full name? Dave Paul Frogba?
My name's Dave Cleall Hill. Paul Frogba is just a Facebook moniker.
Oh, got it. So that's your
Are you hiding? So are you hiding from MI6 is my question. Are you an Eastern European spy that's pretending to be
it's all true, man. It's all true, yeah. I'm not a pro level player. I'm ranked semi-pro in the UK.
Got it.
Oh, cool, man.
And how long have you been playing?
All my life, man. I started playing more seriously about 5 years ago.
Okay.
But I've been playing since I was 4 or 5 years old, I guess.
Oh, fantastic. Now, what kind of tables were you playing on when you were a kid?
Well, we used to go camping in France, so we were playing Bonzini tables.
Nice.
Just about tall enough to see over. And, as I got a little bit older, we started playing all the time. So, Yeah, I've been playing. I used to play Bonzini a lot.
Oh, I love it.
And then now these days it's all Tornado really. Although we have in our club we have P4P, Leonhardt, Garlando as well.
Right. So this place where you're playing Man Bites Frog. Now, is there a meaning behind that? The name of the pub?
Yeah, well, Man Bites Frog is a French restaurant.
Oh.
So I believe in the one of your former presidents referred to them as cheese-eating surrender monkeys. But the French call us le roast beef, and some people might call them the frogs. But I have a long history and relationship with the French. But I'm more than comfortable with this gentle play on words.
Well, I mean, you played on their tables, the Bonzini, so yeah,
Just for starters, man. Yeah.
Right. So this tournament that's coming up, it's the inaugural event for Froglife Tornado Open. Was this something that you came up with on your own?
No, I mean we have a club, Manchester Table Football Club, so it's something we've been plotting for a while. We like to travel around and play sort of around Europe. So yeah, it's been something we've been talking about. I guess like personally, I wanted to do you go to a lot of tournaments and really well organized tournaments in nice places like Germany and Eastern Europe, and it's often you're in like a big sports hall or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do something a sort of more down to earth venue, and it's a little bit different.
Right. Now, how many tables are you going to have there in the site?
Well, it depends if the shipping container comes in from Texas.
Oh no, man! Oh no! When's that supposed to happen, dude?
Well, the distributor tells me, the UK distributor tells me that I will have my tables on Thursday, so we'll have 24 hours to, if I need to, then drive down to London with a van to borrow tables off Will Hawks. Then I will do that.
Will Hawks,
awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no,
awesome.
we'll have 5 tables. Is the plan? It's not a big tournament.
Oh, nice.
Hey, Dave. Jim Stevens. Nice to meet you. So paint us a picture. Paint us a picture of a Frog Bites Man. Is it your traditional sort of corner pub there in England? I mean, we all, of course, have an image of that, of having a pint, which sounds awesome, by the way. Down at the pub. Paint a picture. Is it kind of a traditional pub setting?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Frog's 5 years old. When I set it up, I wanted it to feel like it had always been there. So yeah, I guess it's kind of traditional feeling. I like to buy a lot of you might call it junk, or you might describe it as antiques. But I like to go around junk shops and buy nice things, old things, and forgotten things. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff lying around.
And just to clarify, you do serve an IPA there, I believe.
Yeah, we stock IPA from Shindigger, who are kindly sponsoring our event.
Love it.
Yeah, man. So we tend to have we've got now we have 5 or 7 pumps on, and we'll have a couple of lagers, cider, and then we'll have a few different IPAs.
No. One last question for me. Robert Atha, of course, a resident, I believe, still of Manchester. And again, I was mentioning earlier, I've done a tournament in Manchester. I love it. The only thing is, guys, when you step off the curve, make sure you look to the right instead of the left. I think that's it. But tell us, do you have much experience hanging out with our good friend Rob?
Yeah, Rob comes down sometimes, down to the club, and he's really kind of helpful. Shows us a few things and kicks our asses a little bit. But yeah, Rob's going to be at the tournament. He came down for a little practice on Friday afternoon, so he's not played for a little while. So yeah, he came down for about an hour and just sort of reacquainted himself with the table. It didn't take him long, but yeah, Rob's going to be around. Looking forward to that. And we've got a few other top UK players coming too. With COVID and everything, it's been more difficult to attract foreign players. So there's a few people that I know that I see, when you travel, and everyone's like, man, we really want to come, but it isn't a good time. It's like, yeah, I totally understand. So yeah, it's limited in that way. But the plan is to do a bigger event next year with a little more gusto.
Sure.
Double the amount of tables and kind of kick on a little bit. So yeah, it's sort of a work in progress. This one, it's a question of right, how much money am I going to lose? But it's like, do you know what? Like, I just want to run a nice tournament and do it. Do a really good job of it, and be really excited about doing it.
And Dave, what's the scene in Manchester right now? Are there a lot of players, a lot of people that show up for regular DYPs, this kind of thing?
I think there's a lot of retired players. There's a lot of guys who guys we've not seen since COVID. Yeah, I mean, it's like in our club, like on a good night you might have like 15 people there, so it's not a big scene at all. But like I mean, we had this guy that I don't want to say too much about, but this guy turned up today, and he's come from very far away, and he's just like rocked up out of nowhere, and it's like, I want to find more players like him, because I know there's a lot of players in Manchester, foreign players with a lot of talent, who just don't know that, maybe that it's time for them to come and rediscover the thing. So, and also I part of my I have a role with the British Foosball Association. I'm supposed to be involved in helping to kick foosball on a little bit in this part of the country. And that's something that obviously with COVID, and like I own a restaurant, it's been mental since we come back, and blah blah blah. So it's very difficult to to make the time to sort of go like, right, I'm going to get into schools and do programs and all these kind of things. So I've got like a big to-do list, to develop the sport. But it's the moment it's been slow going with COVID and everything, but yeah, it's there's a lot to look forward to.
Hey man, I gotta interject. The promo you guys did was so damn funny and good. I don't know whose idea that was. The one foosball, all that B-roll was so damn cool. And so they sent that to me. Someone, maybe it was you. Someone sent me the B-roll, and then I watched your promo. I'm like, I can't improve on this. I don't know who did this, but it's so damn quirky and cool. So what I decided to do was I took your B-roll, and I think you've seen it already, man. And I'm glad you like it. People like it, but I try to be at least as weird as you guys. I don't think I achieved it, but yours is super cool. I gotta say this: the food over there looks world class, dude. I mean, the food looks amazing, and there's probably as much when we start pushing these promos out. Get people out there to eat and drink, man. Get people out there to eat and drink and enjoy the ambiance of it, because it looks. I mean, I've seen I'd love to just go there and hang out. So hopefully there's an opportunity to get people around as spectators that eventually can become players. But I think you guys are going to have as much success promoting the beer and the plates of fine. It looks like fine dining. Jim, I don't know if you've seen some of this B-roll. It looks like fine dining. It's like Michelin rated food, right? And so
no, I'm looking for a review from our Inside Foods food critic Reese Roberts, who will be there, I think, to submit a review of the food, if you don't mind, Reese.
Only if it's good. Only if it's good. We don't need to hear about it.
Only if it's good. No, from what we've seen, I'm sure it's great. That's part of what is so charming about this event. Obviously, the foosball, it's in a pub, which is cool. It's the first event held in Great Britain in quite a while, and I think we're all looking forward to it.
And Dave, just to let you know, I've just added your Frog Bites Man and your Froglife Tornado Open.
It's Man Bites Frog.
Man Bites Frog. Yeah.
I had
Man Bites Frog. Yes. Well, I've just added it to my bucket list. If you'd like to know, I mean, I got to get there someday soon.
Listen, we've had Thomas Haas has been at the Frog. Brian Moore's been at the Frog. Everyone's welcome to come over anytime.
Dude, I've been to 5 tournaments this year, and my favorite one so far was the Beach Down Beatdown, which was this little small tournament in Florida. I'd love to go to the small ones.
I'd love to go to the Froglife. You even remember that, Mark. I'm surprised you even remember that weekend.
I'm planning on going to Froglife #2 next year. That's on my bucket list, dude.
There you go.
All right.
Done deal.
Looking forward to a pint. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Dave, it's great for you to take the time to stay up so late or get up so early to join us from England, and wow, we're looking forward to hearing more about your success with this premier tournament. Will you come back?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just want to say a big thanks to you guys. It's a real pleasure. It's an honor to be on your show. It's very kind. And yeah, I look forward to dealing with you in the future. So yeah, thank you. And I'm going to go to bed in a minute, and I might listen to the replay tomorrow.
Listen to it tomorrow, dude. Listen to it tomorrow.
Go to sleep, man. Go to bed. Get some sleep. Good night, Dave.
But yeah, thank you all very much.
Yeah, you're welcome,
Take
Dave.
care, bud.
Have a great tournament.
Cheers, buddy. Bye now.
All right, there you go, Dave.
All right.
Also
Yeah,
knows
Dave was solid, man.
Yeah,
He was solid.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
and of course also known as Paul Frogba, putting
Apparently.
on this amazing tournament coming up on August 20th at Man Bites Frog. It's the inaugural Froglife Tornado Open. So much happening. How do we keep track of all this, guys?
We don't.
Right. That's the answer. We don't.
One thing, though, that we can keep track of, and it's exciting, and it's who's going to join us here in a little bit. I mean, when you're talking about the First Family of Foosball, I don't think there's any question, and I think we're looking international at that as well, anywhere in the world, as the Rues. We're talking 3 world champions, 3 World Cup champions, class acts on and off the table.
Oh.
And so I'm looking forward to hanging out with the Rues for a little while tonight as we go into the Tornado Championships, and there's a whole bunch of World Championships going to join us here in a few minutes.
Yeah, if those who are not aware, of course, Keisha and Terry and Sullivan, quite a family when it comes to foosball, but they've all brought home World Championship trophies in their careers.
Yeah, and gold medals, and gold medals from the World Cup as well.
Right. Yeah. Exciting. And has there ever been a family such as the Rues?
No, there hasn't. You look at, there have been families that have had successful parents and kids and stepkids, and the Billarakises and the Terry Moores, those sorts of folks, but nothing like this. No,
right.
To where all 3 are still a world championship this year or next year in the multi-table event over in Nantes, France. But no, this is something, again, we talked about Tony Spredeman and being a part of his career and seeing what was going on and how he's creating history. Well, I think the Rues are kind of doing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Well, we're very lucky to have all 3 with us this evening. It's Terry, it's Keisha, it's Sullivan. They're so well known in the foosball community, and such a super nice group of people, but top-notch players. Please welcome all 3 to FoosTalk Live. Guys, are you with us?
We are.
We're here.
Holy smokes, listen to that. That's awesome.
That is great.
We even have Arden with us.
All 4 of you.
Nice.
Outstanding. Yeah, Arden's a really good player too. I mean, it's only a matter of time for her before she's playing Sully in those women's singles finals, I think.
That's right.
Yeah. Is it a requirement that when you walk through the Rue's front door that you must play foosball? Is that the
Absolutely.
You gotta complete a 5-bar pass outside before you can even come in.
Before you enter.
Right.
It's like
I want to walk.
taking your shoes off.
I want to walk through those doors and taste some of Keisha's cooking. From what I hear, and is it the crawfish etouffee? Is that what we're looking at? I think
that's what everybody seems to like and ask for.
Really?
Your whole name, like Keisha, like an egg dish and a pastry.
Nice try, Mark.
Rue,
Oh man,
a roux is a
you're right.
Gumbo, yeah.
Look, we have Tony calling, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to head down there, but I want my dish. I want my crawfish etouffee."
Yeah.
He's already requested it.
I can't wait, man. In one of these years, I'm bringing the family down, guys. We're parking the trailer on the back 40, and we're hanging out for a while, just eating good crawfish etouffee.
There you go. Hey, have you guys thought about maybe doing some tailgating at Lexington, Kentucky? Setting up in the parking lot and put up the grill.
That would be fun.
That would be awesome.
We might be a little busy that weekend, but maybe one time during the weekend. Maybe Keisha.
Uh-huh.
So first of all, I gotta ask you guys. I know this kind of a family just doesn't materialize out of nothing. Of course, you guys very consciously did this. Now, who first of all is the instigator to get everybody in the family in the sport? Just curious.
I guess it would be me.
Okay.
I started out first when I was young, a kid at our local skating rink.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember, Terry, of course, when I first saw you play, and I'd look up in the stands, and Keisha would just be sitting there watching you and cheering you on and supporting you, but didn't play. Wasn't it Keisha a few years before you kind of, maybe a year or so before you really started to play, out on tour?
Yep, that's absolutely correct. At USL, when we were in college, I was the only girl, and all the guys were really good, and I was slightly intimidated. But after a year or two, I pretty much got bored and said, okay, it's time to learn. So Terry started teaching me, and that was it. I've been playing ever since.
Wow. That is so cool. And
Yeah.
Keisha, so when you started playing, obviously, you were a little older than a lot of people who first get into this game. Was it difficult? I mean, being that age and getting into foosball?
Jeez.
That age. I was so old.
Right. Well, most start like your daughter when she's.
I don't think you meant it that way, Keisha.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yes.
No, it wasn't too bad. I had an excellent teacher. Terry was very patient. Actually, all the guys in our area were awesome and were glad to help me, glad to have me play on their team. They didn't care that I was a beginner. Everybody was super patient,
Cool.
and I was just very lucky.
Right.
So, right into it. I mean, it was all good. Like I said, I had great lessons, and it paid off.
And do you remember the first time you actually went for a major competition, like a tournament that where you won?
Oh Lord, no, I don't remember that. I don't remember. I know that I was in finals, top 3 very early on.
Really?
Yep, I was. I know. I think it was the nationals. Maybe I played with Terry McCullough from Lafayette as well,
Mm-hmm.
and we did really well. We did well in several tournaments together. But no, gosh, I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
Who
that's
knows?
Maybe you and Shelly.
No, that was later.
That was later.
That was later. Yeah, I had babies at that point.
Yeah,
Terry,
which can get in the way a little bit, can't they?
Just only a hair though. Yeah.
especially when they're cooking up in the oven. Terry, got a question, man.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
What's your fondest memory of Mark Wahlberg?
That's crazy. Yeah, that was all. That kind of was misrepresented. We had a group we opened up for Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. But the best part of it was a Mardi Gras weekend in Lafayette.
Uh-huh.
So after the tournament, we got to show. I mean, after the concert, we got to show them around for the weekend and hang out with them.
Cool.
I just remember the accent a lot. It was kind of like Philbrook a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of playful banter.
Did you ever think he would go on and become an Oscar-nominated actor? Did that ever occur to you?
I still
Never.
don't believe it. I still don't believe it. I don't believe it happened. It's like, he did that. Mark Wahlberg, Oscar nominated. There's no way. It's like,
I know.
Right.
The guy who had what underwear did he wear? He was an underwear model,
Yeah.
Calvin Klein. Yeah.
yes.
Well, hey, it happens sometimes.
Hey, I gotta continue. One last thing: the dance aspirations. How did those? I love just taking the thing totally away from foosball. If you can't,
No, it's good. It's good.
Dude. What happened with the dance aspirations? How did that go? Was it just like, you know what? I gotta become an anesthetist. I gotta do it. What happened? Where did that fall away?
I think age, the reality of it's a harsh business, as a lot of people. I don't know if you. I guess you would know this, but it's hit and miss, and it's all about the big break. And there's a lot of road work involved. We traveled the southern part of the United States for years and years, and we got lucky to do some big shows. But there's a lot of fight and struggle in between, and I just saw where that I needed more consistency. I knew that my body wouldn't hold up.
Yeah.
It's a long haul, and you get older. Those things and little injuries.
I was an underwear model for 30 years, and I
There
get
you
that.
go.
We're not, Mark. We're not. And so for Terry, for you, it was Terry. It was your thing for quite a while. I mean, was there a point where the two, where foosball and dancing, kind of crossed over to where you were able to pay attention to both, or was the dancing then kind of led to the foosball? And maybe it also probably helped you, didn't it, in many ways as well? But it was dancing first, then foosball.
Yes, sir. But I still danced, and foosball was there. It just wasn't in the forefront at that point.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things, dancing got me in really good shape, but it made me really hyper when I played. Because I remember,
no way.
Yeah, I had energy to burn.
You did. No, and speaking of dancing, I think maybe the best dance. I know we've seen you dance many times over the years, out in in the foyer, or even there in the pits on occasion. But right. I think the best dance I ever saw from you was when Sully and Delisa won the women's doubles world championship, and you're watching in the stands. We kind of have you in the background there, and you're so into it. Of course, how can you even keep your composure? But then the match ends, they win, and you kind of go nuts, and it was so much fun to watch. And what about your memories of that? And of course, obviously, we'll talk about your win with Rob and your other wins, and of course, what Keisha has done as well. But how special was that moment?
Yeah. So what a lot of people don't realize is we're kind of, you focused on your own tournament and matchups, and you're doing some self-study and what are the tendencies and trends of people at the tournament, and you're trying to figure these things out and navigate. Sully walks up to me and tugs on my shoulder. I remember this, and says, "Hey, Daddy, guess what?" And I said, "What, baby?" She goes, "We're playing for the winner's bracket." I was like, "Oh, good job," and I kind of walk away, and then I stop and I turn around and go, "Which winner's bracket?" And she goes, "Women's Open doubles." And I was like, "No way." And so she goes, "We play the number 1 seed." And I said, "Where is it? I'm coming." So, they win the winner's bracket. And so now I'm trying to be dad to just kind of distract her. I don't want her to be thinking about, you got to wait around to play this final. Don't be nervous. And that was amazing in itself. I was waiting and feeling the anxiety, I guess, with her. It was kind of coupled together. But then sitting in the stands.
I didn't even see him, first
of
all.
I had to hide. But the cool thing is I have, Tommy's by me, Rob Atha, McMillan, all of my friends. And then they're kind of sabotaging me by recording me. And they're all I can see them chuckling around, and I'm focusing on the match. And then when that ball goes in, I think I jumped 12 feet in the air.
Wow.
I think I jumped over.
Mark would have been proud, buddy.
I didn't know I had the hop still in me,
Nice.
That is great.
And that's the thing. I mean, obviously you talked about it, how your preparation, how your focus on your game, on what was going on with you and singles, doubles, et cetera. And then of course she comes up and you say, "Oh, that's great. Good, great." And then it dawned on you what was happening. But how can you have a wife that also is a world champion, you're a world champion, Sully, of course, Arden is eventually going to be one, I don't doubt. But how can you kind of spread your emotions over all of that and still be able to focus on your game or your, your partnership with your, with your partner, et cetera? Or does it take away from that a little bit?
No, it doesn't. You learn how to compartmentalize, and when you need to focus on a match, what's in front of you, you do it. After that, you can, I guess, look at what you did, what you can improve on, and then it's helping coach for family. And we all help each other. Keisha's probably my biggest fan, and she's always in my ear trying to improve my game, which is important because she's going to see things clearer and different ways than I will as you're focused on matches. And that helps. And then, you find Sully, hey, what do you think you need to work on? What's working, what's not working. And that's kind of how you go about it.
No, I think that this dynamic, of course, you've got a support system, which is really amazing. You've got to have a support system if you want to be successful at anything, of course. But Sullivan, I got to ask you the question. I know this is your first time on FoosTalk Live, as it is for your parents. But in front of the audience here, I got to ask you the question. When you were growing up in your household, now I remember being in my early teens. My parents were so uncool, so uncool. Did that ever happen to you? You kind of look at your folks and gotta go, "Oh man, I hope I don't end up like those guys."
No, I don't think like that at all. I think they're the coolest. I always have.
Wow. Okay. Are you just saying
that? Is that what you text your friends as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not just saying that either. I would tell them if I didn't think they were cool. But no, they definitely are.
Well, it's really, truly amazing. I do have to congratulate you on your success. You are a truly gifted player.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely gifted, but also, as we saw in the movie Foosballers, it's the work ethic as well, right, Sully? I mean, you put a lot of time into your game. Obviously, there are gifts. Obviously, you've had great direction, been playing a long time, but it comes down to really who works the hardest, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I definitely was set up good, but I had to put in the extra work to win.
And that seems to be paying off in certainly in every match you've been in. It seems. I mean, you never seem to give up. Is that part of your psyche?
Yeah, I mean, you have to play every ball like it's new. And I used to be bad at it. Like if I'm down a few points, I'd feel a little down. But now it's just you play every ball like it's all new. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. So you develop that inner language of just pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and get back at it again.
Yeah, exactly, and that helps me win a lot more than other stuff.
Wow, and to have this kind of philosophy, especially early on in your career like this, where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you think?
Well, I want to start winning more men's events because my goal is to win my first women's singles, which I did get at Texas State at a major.
Yes.
I got a men's event, expert singles, and now I'm on to pro. I want to win pro singles this year.
That is cool. So
yeah, and she is totally capable of that as well, in my opinion. I mean, this is a young woman whose game transcends male or female. It's a game that I think you have the best push shot in the world, period. You have a great 5. Your transition game in singles is exceptional. It is plus. And all those indicators. And then it's just a matter of getting in there and competing and doing it on a regular basis and learning from each and every match, win or lose, that you play. And I think you're heading completely in the right direction. I'm sure Mark agrees as well.
So, how do you feel about me putting a target on your back? I'm dead serious. I'm about to tell.
She embraces it. Yeah.
I'm about to tell the world. I think that's why I have no problem. If I felt like you had this hugely intimidable personality, I would be hesitant. And I'd seek permission from your parents. But no, you're 18. I wouldn't now. But like, I'm about to announce, and it does not go over well. I'm telling you right now, there are Europeans listening right now. When I go and say I'm picking Sully to win the multi-table women's singles championship, there's gonna start a inferno.
Ooh.
In Europe.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, it doesn't bother me.
All right. Hey, man, I've forewarned you. I think it'll bring the best out in you. It's gonna bring the best out of them.
I have to prove you correct now, so I'm gonna be practicing.
I love that.
Yeah. There you go. Even though it's Mark.
I'm so bad at this interview
thing. You're terrible.
I guess I asked a question. I said, "How do you feel about me?"
Well done. All right, I'm gonna ask one, Mark. I'm gonna ask one, and then you can come back. So start thinking about what you want to talk about. Right now I'm picturing Keisha. Right, Keisha is listening to her husband, who she of course loves, and her daughter, and she's just sitting back and listening and smiling. I know you, Keisha. Keisha did an amazing interview with me, and it's on InsideFoos.com. Back from Mother's Day, amazing performance by I thought, just beautiful. But I can picture you now. You enjoy this. You enjoy the success of your husband. You enjoy the success of your daughter. We know what a competitor you are as well. But which comes first? Is it your own personal satisfaction of winning, or and I think I know the answer here, or is it your daughter and your husband being as successful as they are as well?
That's a very difficult question.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad.
I am extremely competitive. So I will always want to win. I'm always going to do my best, and I'm always going to give more than I probably even should. But as for always staying focused, that's a little harder for me. When they are up in big matches and I'm up, it is hard to stay 100% focused. I am always and always have been, and I probably always will be listening for Terry's loud scream, "Yes!" which let me know where his matches were going. And kind of the same thing for Sullivan. There's certain little things that I could hear that I know of. And it kind of just gives me a little relief while I'm playing. I don't think that it takes away from my game. Because once again, I know when I need to stop and focus 100%, and I can pull it out. But of course I want to see them succeed always.
Yeah, there are different dynamics in foosball, of course, playing with your husband. And of course, we played that flashback earlier when you guys won the 2015 Texas State Mixed Doubles Championship together. But then, there's also playing against your husband, which is a little bit weird. But then playing against your daughter. And we've now seen this on more than one occasion. We've seen it a few times. And you always compete hard. You both do. I'm not sure where you find that. I mean, that has got to be. I picture playing against one of my kids. It's tough enough playing against my wife, right?
Right.
How do you find the competitiveness? How do you, when you're playing against Sully, you're out to beat her. It's obvious. You're playing hard. Where does that come from? How do you find that?
Good question. It's extremely difficult. I hate it so much, and it sucks. So there.
Good answer.
Yeah, that's me. That's legit. No, I'm just kidding. It's very difficult, and if you notice, I generally keep my head down and I don't talk because I need to stay focused and looking down at the table and play the table and not the person. Because yes, it's very difficult to do that. But I'm not gonna lay down. Obviously,
Disrespectful if you didn't.
I'll help you out. Keisha. You got to look at her as a financial anchor on your. 5 years, and then you
Right.
just muster up the fury.
Always comes down to business with Toro.
Right. Yeah.
I got to ask Sully this question though, because my audio.
Ignore it.
Okay, here's my question for you, Sully. So you play your dad so much that you must have tells and some tendencies on your dad.
Mhm.
Now you're playing against your dad, and you have a goalie. Are you going to tell that goalie how to block your dad? Are you going to give
Family
away
secrets.
your
Good question.
dad's weaknesses? Yeah.
No, I actually wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
God.
If it came down to it, I'd switch. Sure, I'd switch and block, but I wouldn't tell any of my families.
Daddy's girl.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I play my kids in chess, and I told myself before I had kids, I said, one day I'm going to have kids. I'm going to play them chess. I'm never going to let them win. And that has not hold. I have 2 daughters. I've never beat them in chess. I won't dare beat them in chess. They beat me every single
Do you know what we do now, Mark? Let me interject. You know what we do with our kids now? We ask them before we play any game. We say, do you want us to let you win, or do you want to play our best? And we're going to leave it up to you. If you want us to let you win, hey, no problem. We'll let you win. Or do you want us to play your best? And thankfully, both my kids so far, it's play your best.
Really?
Much to their dismay, by the way.
Right. It does make it difficult.
Well, they asked for it.
But you got to keep going. That's the only way you're going to get better. It's the
Yeah.
only reason we got as good as we did, as fast as we did, because we had somebody at home beating us and making us so mad.
Still beating me.
That, you know, when
Terry is secretly not a nice man. We know that.
No, he's not. Everybody's talking about how great he is, and like play him at home. It's terrible.
What do you say about that, Terry?
What's that?
What do you say about that? You're not really a nice guy.
I take my fair share of beatings as well. They're not interjecting about that. But Sully and I went at it today for a good hour, and the day before we played for about 2 hours.
Wow.
I think she's as good as you, Terry. I think she is as good as you now. I think she is.
You know, the funny thing is, like, I'll get home from work, and she looks at me, and we're like, all right, upstairs. We go upstairs, and it feels like I'm sipping water through a fire hydrant. It's a little much. The first 3 out of 5. I come down. I'm like, I need some water. Hold up. I'll be right back. And I go into the room. I'm like, Keish, this is too much, man. I'm going back.
Going in for more.
The long time out. Tom Yor does that against Tommy.
Exactly.
If Tom's getting wrecked, he'll win a game and he'll take off. He's like, I'm done. I'm not.
That's it. Yeah. Always.
Now, I gotta ask you the question, because you guys are really within the foosball community, and of course, I've noticed some newspaper articles about your family. Of course, you guys are featured in the Foosballers, the movie. I mean, you've met met just about everybody on the planet who plays foosball. What are the people around you, like your immediate family, who don't play foosball? What do they think of what you do?
I have a good example of what they think. On going to Spain this year.
Mm-hmm.
Not this year.
I mean, last year.
Yeah.
I'm time warping here. We're getting ready to go to Spain early in the morning. I see this light flash by in the window, and our family comes running in the house, yelling "USA, USA," screaming it, and I start shaking. I'm like,
wow,
yeah, y'all are the best ever. And they hand the tickets to us, and they're coming with us. That's
kidding.
what our family thinks about foosball.
Wow. They were just surprising us.
And they went to Spain to support us.
Oh my goodness,
that's cool.
That's the kind of support that we have from our family.
What a great ride for them as well, as they got to watch all 3 of you win gold medals. How about that?
And you could see them in the crowd,
yeah,
on the live stream and stuff.
Yeah, they loved it, and they're coming to the next one and the next one. As long as we go, they're coming.
Yeah.
But all of our families that way, they're at home supporting, watching all of our matches, watching the charts. You know, it's they're all in, and if they could be there for every match, they would be.
Yeah,
that's amazing. What a great support system. Yeah, that makes sense.
We're very lucky.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And have you always lived in Louisiana, by the way?
Yes,
we all have.
Always.
Have you heard the accent, Tom?
Well,
Can you hear the accents?
Yes, it could be, elsewhere in the South.
We do not have accents.
Yeah.
Everyone else does, right? Exactly.
Well, I could talk to you about what I do for a living, but then we shouldn't get off the beaten trail. We're talking about what you guys do, not what I do. But
All
no.
right, so we're 2.5 weeks or so out from the Tornado Championships coming up. Are you guys in training mode? Or are you preparing? Obviously, it sounds like Sully and Terry are hammering it out upstairs. Much to the dismay of Terry, at least at first. But what are you guys doing to sort of prepare for the event?
I'm watching Inside Foods, watching the old live streams. Not necessarily all of my matches, but any women's matches, even guys. Playing with my dad every day, 3 out of 5s, like 100 million 3 out of 5.
Oh boy, wow!
And then either before or after, I'll practice and do some of my reps and certain numbers, different things, changing certain things, working on strategic things,
Yeah, and on the other, we're kind of like a sounding board for each other. We can go up and play and then go, hey, look, I think there's a pattern here. You need to work on this. She'll say, this would work better, this speed, this type of shot. So it works in that right. The other thing is we're managing not peaking too early. And some of that is peaking where you're physiologically or physically strong enough and fresh enough versus you get everything out, you beat your body up, and then you go into Worlds well practiced, but you're not fresh. So it's the balance of us kind of getting to where we're playing our best when we need to go and play this tournament.
Now, it seems to me like, especially with your background in medical science, I mean, are there certain foods that you won't eat during match time?
No. Try to cut back on the carbs and no sodas.
Right. Okay.
That can kind of a term called glycosylation of the ligaments. It basically means you can cause swelling in certain areas of your joint capsules. It can slow you down and limit your motion. So we try to stay away from that.
Come a long way since the 90s when we were like eating 9 chicken wings and
yeah, I know.
right before
pizza.
a match.
Yeah,
that's what I eat.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I
I just eat
whatever
pizza,
she wants.
Macaroni every day.
What's that like? I haven't been able to do that in 60 years.
Right. No idea.
Terry, you might know some of the matchups at this point. Who would you put as the top 3 teams in open doubles or the top 3 players in open singles? Jim, you got Jim, you got a little static. I'll private message Jim.
Jim's got
Terry.
a little phone issue going on there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Clay.
I think
Love the Morse
I think
code.
Ryan and Blake, number 1. Tony and Robert, number 2.
Tony and Robert?
I'm sorry. Robert and Tommy. There's the T thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are up there, and I think little Tommy and Brando, number 3.
Yeah.
And then you can have 3A. It can be Costa Ricans, any of the Costa Ricans. You just never know what they're going to do. That's kind of where I see that. Singles, Tony, Tommy, and I don't know if Ryan is going to play.
Yeah, we'll see whether the motivation is there as well. Who knows,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there's playing and then there's wanting to compete and challenge yourself. Blake's been playing really good singles lately.
Yeah, he has. Yeah. Who are you playing? Who are you playing doubles with?
Paul Smith.
Nice, Paul. Super talent out of St. Louis. Seems like only a matter of time. I mean, his game is the skill level is super high there. Looking forward to that. Yeah, and let's not forget also Dave Gummison and Tracy McMillan will be there again for the 400th straight year, and they will. And I'm sure they're always a factor. They're so smart, and I'm not supposed to say anything, but I think that they're training. I think that they are working hard. They are focused, and I've heard some extraordinary numbers in terms of at least one of those players and how hard they are getting prepared for this. So
I got a dark horse for you that is browsing a couple different partners.
Yes.
I
know who it is. Yeah.
Trevor Park.
Yeah.
I don't think we're allowed to say anything yet, are we?
You're not allowed to say anything.
I don't think so.
No, but Trevor Park has been playing more than ever. He's done something new. he's walking his snake around. He's never done that before.
Oh my goodness, it's good.
And yeah, he's gonna be. He could be. You never know, right? Trevor could show up, and he could be the tale of two Trevors. But
yeah, we'll see who he plays with. I'm going to say this though: he's potentially going to play with a top 5 all-time goalie. We'll put it that way.
Ooh,
I would think that would be Todd, probably.
maybe.
Right.
Let's leave it at that. Jim, don't give too much.
Just leave it at that. I know.
I said top 5, buddy. I could have said 3.
Didn't give it away much. Yeah.
Do we know if Serge and Sparky are going?
It's questionable right now, and there's still concerns about COVID and potentially been vaccinated. That's a question for them. But once again, there's another guy who, they played a couple tournaments this year, and those guys can be dangerous when they play more than 2 tournaments. That's all.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes this tournament so great. I mean, obviously Tony is the huge favorite in singles, although Tommy probably knocking at the door there, and a full-on Ryan. But I'm not sure we're going to get that. But in doubles, I mean, how many different teams? You mentioned, of course, the defending multi-table world champions Ryan Moore and Blake Robertson, and certainly a strong team. But boy, you could go down that list of 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 teams that are going to be knocking at the door, right, guys?
Yes,
definitely.
Kane with Mario.
Oh wow! Yeah,
that's always a good team.
Kane's been playing good.
Yeah, Brandon Munoz and Carlos Cespedes, I imagine, are playing together, and they've been great. Munoz, so exciting, isn't it, guys?
Evan and his dad are playing together.
Oh, they are. Okay, all right.
I'm not sure who Brandon's playing with.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if it might be a top 3 all-time goalie. But anyway, earlier, guys, we've talked about this oftentimes on the show, how married couples are able to survive as a team, and it doesn't happen very often. We had Tommy and Kathy Atkinson on earlier this year, and they talked about it. We played that flashback earlier tonight from the 2015 Texas State Championships, in one of the strangest matches you're ever going to see. Really a remarkable match, and it was amazing you guys were able to hold on and win that. But talk a little bit, not only about that match and how special it was, but also about how it is playing with your spouse and the challenges that might be involved with that.
Take it, Keish.
Super duper.
Well
easy.
said, sir.
It's the most easiest thing I've ever done. Said no one married couple ever.
I could feel your nose growing there.
Yeah. No, it's when we're winning and doing great, there is no better feeling. It's great because he usually knows what I'm thinking, and vice versa. He knows where to be. It's comfortable. Sometimes probably a little too comfortable. And we've played with other people, and while it was great playing with other people, you also realize, okay, now I understand why I play with Terry, or and vice versa. It just works, and it's worth it. It's not easy, but it's worth it, and we just need to be. You have to be in the right frame of mind and know how to talk to each other, which is probably the hardest part. But we're always a work in progress.
Yeah.
All right, Terry, you can't avoid the question. You can't avoid the question, Terry. Come on.
It's the moments of fire whenever you're really, really hyper focused, and you want to win, and maybe you do something based on emotion, and you don't necessarily take your time. She's able to see that and then and point it out, which makes it rough on you sometimes, because it can feel like a judgment when it's not. When she's trying to say, hey, if you time, this is what would be open. Why don't we play the percentage play? It's the me not over analyzing the coaching aspect from my wife, which always coaches me well, truly.
It took him, like 20 years to finally realize that I kind of know a little bit. No, just kidding.
I think it's a wonderful testament to your guys' communication. Because like my wife, it would just be this passive aggressive thing. Like you didn't clean the shed like I asked you to. That would come up during a timeout. So, congratulations that you guys have had tremendous success over 30 years.
Right. The other one is the when you're playing, sometimes you can play lights out as a team and you just lose because the other team played better.
Yeah, that's so true.
And we're able to now recognize when that's happening, or when it happens, and not be down on us. We realize we played well. They just played better in that moment. Maybe they got a couple of breaks, that wasn't necessarily our fault. And there's no blame pointing towards either of us. And it's really helped us play as a more cohesive unit.
Well, I can see that there's the future is clear. When things start to fade with your foosball game, you can become foosball coaches and marriage counselors.
There you go. That's right.
That'll be fun.
Oh yeah. No, it's got to be difficult at times. Of course, those moments when things don't go well. What's the language like sometimes? Is it just guys? Hey, okay, we did our best.
There's no language at that
language?
point. I just walk away, and he knows not to talk to me.
Okay.
That's
literally it.
All right.
I need to be by myself for a while, and
she takes longer to process and cool down.
Sure.
I can lose the match, be mad, and then go, "Hey, great match, good luck, y'all." And then I'm looking forward to the next match to play.
Okay.
And my switch is much faster than hers, so you learn to give her time, and it works very well that way.
We appreciate your honesty on that.
Yep.
I'm reflecting, trying to think of any point, even for 2 seconds, that I've ever seen Terry Rue mad. Let me think about that.
Right. Yeah.
Not sure that's ever happened.
Not in public, anyway. But
and again, it would only be mad at himself, if anything. Obviously, you're a competitor. You're going to be a little self-critical, especially after losses, but that's also part of what allows you to grow as a player. And I'm guessing that's something you have kind of handed down to Sully, your experience. Obviously, she needs to get experience in her own right, but the fact that you two have competed at such a high level for such a long time really allows you to give some of those lessons to her and allow her maybe to that learning curve to be a little shorter, and for her to really take a few shortcuts as far as that goes, because she's always had you guys to kind of lead her in that direction.
Yeah, game time management, how to use timeouts, how to study people,
mm-hmm.
How to go into a match with a game plan, and not just one game plan. When you get into that match, maybe in the second game, everything that you planned on happening goes the opposite direction, and then having that second game plan, third game plan, and playing as much and as long as she has. That's what the depth in a person's game is being able to continually adjust ball from ball, game to game, match to match.
Adjust to the adjustments, even. That's
Correct.
what we talk about that a lot on the air. And it's a constant flow during the course of a match of adjusting to the opponent's adjustments or to conditions or whatever.
Right.
That's right.
Hey, I got a question I ask champions this question. If you've listened to the show before, I'm going to ask Sully and then Keisha and then Terry. And so the quick monologue on it is that I believe that the gap between an expert and a pro is relatively small when it comes to overall ability and skill. But the gap between a pro and a master, someone that wins championships like you guys all have, is a massive difference. And it's 99% mental, because the difference between a pro and a master in skill is there's relative parity. The master will do some things better than the pro will do some things better than the master. But in what goes on between the ears is the difference between champions and people that don't win championships. And so it's this decision making and the poise to execute. And I don't mean just hit the ball in the right spot. I mean, make the right decision and execute under pressure is the difference between people that are world champions and aren't. So I'll ask you first, Sully, then we'll go to Keisha and Terry. What is your frame of mind? If it's nothing, then it's nothing. If it's something that you do, some method, some kind of activity in your mind, how do you execute under pressure and win championships? What is your secret?
It's never bothered me too much playing in front of people. Obviously, my practice, the amount of practice I've done, is the reason I execute as much as I do. Without that, I wouldn't be half as good as I am. It's also obviously the game plan. Anyone can have a game plan, but it's having multiple game plans, because if something goes wrong, you still need a backup. And if that one goes wrong, you need another backup. You need to have all the options. And you do need to be aware of, if you're doing a certain pattern, if you're getting blocked on this, what can you change to do better? You have to be aware of things like that. Even blocking the person, what they tend to do, that's so important.
Great.
Keisha, you're up.
Oh, sorry. Okay. For me, as for pro to master, and I can say even for me, there were times when I wondered why I was still at that level, but then you look at your body of work in that particular year and realize you weren't consistent. It becomes experience, knowledge, and then the consistency is what takes you to pro. You start winning or you're top 3 at all the tournaments. I When that started happening for me is when I finally started listening to the people who were giving me the legit lessons. An example obviously was Moya, just talking with her, because she always had nice things to say about me coming up. When I'd play her, I played her really well. Obviously, I played up. But getting mad at myself, having to let things go when somebody got in, were getting all the breaks and I couldn't keep them out. You just have to let it go and move on to the next ball like it was a normal point. It's just all those little lessons you have to learn to absorb and be able to translate onto the table. And after a while, once you kind of get that connection and you know what's going on, and you know where you are in your life, and if you need to be fired up or if you need to be cool and calm, and it's just working it out, and it takes time, but I mean, I think everybody can get there, and that's what did it for me.
Mine is simple. It's slowing the game down mentally. I played so hyper and with so much energy, just happy to be at a tournament and not be sitting studying 8 hours a day. That was kind of my outlet, but there was something that happened. I believe it was Adrian Zamora, Dave Gummison spoke with me about how to slow the game down, not being so ready to win just for the sake of winning. And so it allowed me to start processing what was going on in a match better and to realize what I did and why I did it, and not get kind of caught in a vortex where it's a domino effect and I don't know what's happening to me now. How did I get here? I was just leading this match. So in that essence, it allowed me to then also go for it. So I could intelligently just go for it. I knew why I was going for it. And I had a nice balance in my game. And when that happened, I started winning.
Yeah.
And that was the recipe. The recipe is not the same for everyone,
right?
Because it depends where you are in your life, how you process information, how much practicing you have. So for me, it was literally slowing the game down mentally and more focus, being hyper aware of each situation.
Yeah,
And that was game changing for me.
3 great answers. Wow. Terry, you talk about how, your game changed, and, and I'm sure you watched the videos, and I don't know whether I obviously said it or not, but there was a point where you were celebrating every score or close to it. And really, you win a game, you win a match, you'd be celebrating. There'd be this, you kind of got a reputation as this high energy guy, et cetera. But really, it took you actually slowing things down a little bit, like you said, not celebrating everything. You're looking at the big picture, et cetera, everything that you delivered there so eloquently. But that came before that 2015 Worlds with Rob, when you guys had that amazing run, didn't it? I mean, you really refocused, kind of changed your approach to the game a little bit, and really matured as a player, didn't you?
I did. 2006 to 2007, I could feel a difference. I could see the results consistently. And at that point, I felt that I was clearly competing, and then I was figuring things out. And that really just changed everything for me. And then you can practice with that type of mentality as well. What can you do in the game that allows these things to happen? It allows you to slow down and figure things out. The mental aspect is truly what I was missing. And I think I had so much robust energy outburst all the time that I could never figure that out. It always felt like I need to get this ball. I just need to score it. Well, why are you getting the ball? Why are you scoring it? What is your plan? And I didn't have one.
This is.
I thought I had one. One of the things that helped me, Rob told me before we played that Worlds, he said, go find your earliest Inside Foos video, because it was a video at that time. And
VHS tape, yes.
It was. And it was a North Carolina, I think 1996 maybe. And he said, go watch it. And in every 2 years, I want you to watch a video of you playing. And I want you to see when it was that everything changed for you. So I would get results, but I was really hit and miss. And then around 2007, it all changed and I could see it. And it kind of like that gave me that game plan, the slideshow, if you will, of how the success came and why it came.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. One last question from me for you, Terry. These days, you were a forward for so long. You were playing with Matt Stewart and others over the course of the years, and then you kind of became a hybrid kind of player. Where are you now in your career? Do you look at yourself more as a goalie? I mean, or it tends to be where you start more often than not these days. Do you still view yourself as a hybrid player? Do you still have that forward focus, or do you think of yourself primarily as a goalie these days?
So that question's interesting. The reason I say it, when Tracy and I were talking about playing Texas State, he says, man, I know I haven't been playing. I really want to play with a master. I said, well, good, because I really want to play forward. I have something to prove, and I have a lot left in me. And I did like the way that I played at Texas State. I like the results. I think I'm hybrid for sure. Yeah. I still have a lot left in me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I physically feel good. I do a lot of cardio work so that I have the energy later on in the tournament, as long as I don't waste it like I used to early on in the tournament. But yeah, definitely 50-50. I just think that the way it happened was I ended up kind of just going to goalie because of the partners that were asking me to play. It was who I was pairing up with. And so when that question, somebody would say, hey, let's play, they're a forward, then I would put a lot of focus into the goalie game and try to be the best goalie I could, the best game manager from back there.
Very interesting. Yeah, no, and to see the progress over the years. Now, since we're on the philosophy of what your game is like, all three of you, let's take it off the table. Has foosball itself as a sport, has it affected the way you deal with other parts of your life? Sullivan?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I used to be way shy, super shy, and having to go up to the table by myself because maybe my parents were in a match, shake the person's hand, meet them, play against the person. I had to learn how to talk to people, adults. I learned to talk to adults because there wasn't many kids my age or girls my age ever.
Mm-hmm.
So that confidence, definitely, even in dancing, performing, it helped with the nerves because, under pressure helped me under pressure.
Okay.
Definitely a lot of confidence.
So you had to learn empathy and compassion when you made grown men cry.
Yes. Keisha, what about you? What about your philosophy off the table? Has a foosball affected your life?
Sure. I mean, it gives me the chance to, once again, like I said, be competitive. So that's something that gives me, it helps in my everyday life as a mom, because a mom has 100 million trillion things to do in a day.
Yep.
And you have to have a plan, and you have to work, you're problem solving always. So of course, foosball has helped me to do that, to breathe, be calm, and work it out.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, and to have a plan.
Right. Helps deal with losses.
Yeah, mine is interesting. Foosball did a lot for me, actually. It got me an interview to go to anesthesia school.
Really?
That was one of the main reasons. And it was one of the first questions they said. Everybody's resume, it always has this same look, the same standardized approach. And yours was completely different. They have dancing and foosball, and they were quite intrigued with foosball. So it kind of set me up really well when the interview process started, because there was familiarity with speaking with them. I wasn't nervous anymore. So that's what it really did that for me.
I love that.
Wow.
Dude.
That is cool.
Really love
that is amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's something all of us can, looking back on our careers, foosball's kind of been our martial art, hasn't it? It's the thing where it's the tool we use to learn about ourselves and how we react under pressure situations. It teaches us lessons about life. And I think all of us would be in agreement on that. I certainly am. More than anything, it's taught me to live in the moment. You really have to be when you're on the table playing, and to be here now, so to speak, was something that I really took from foosball and has benefited me in particular in most of my life. So yeah, that's great insight there, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Well, Sullivan, I have a quick question for you because I know that you've become the worry of many other players. So, okay. Now, in your age bracket, and I guess we're talking, 20 or under, who worries you as far as players go?
There's not really a lot in my age.
Yeah.
There is a girl from here named Isabel Stella who is coming up, and she could be a definite threat to me.
Interesting.
But other than
overseas, can you think of anybody overseas?
Sorry?
Can you think of anybody overseas, Western Europe?
Right.
Oh, there's a lot of guys, many guys, but not really any females.
Not that you know of. I'm sure there's probably a lot of
that's what
up
I
and
know,
coming
sorry.
ones at her age that we don't know of.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of fantastic players.
I mean, the junior guys are incredible my age.
Right. No, there's Tommy Atkinson, of course, probably doesn't qualify because he's a little older, but he's still of that younger generation. What about
Tommy Orr, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Tommy,
of course.
Yeah. What about Sammy DeJean? What do you think of Sammy?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Sam. Hello, Sam he actually beat me in Texas State. We used to play together.
Yeah.
Or nationals. We used to play together in amateur events before we bumped up, and we do really well. We're gonna plan to play again soon. He's really good.
I think Tom might have met Tommy Orr there because Tommy Atkinson.
Right. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Tommy's 65 or so by now, I'm guessing.
Tommy Orr.
The World Cup coming up next year, of course. I know you guys are starting to think about that, starting to prepare for that. I'm sure all of you will be on Team USA, women's and men's teams, and of course competing for world championships, et cetera. So is that something that you're starting to kind of begin to prepare for?
Yeah, always preparing for a World Cup. It's the biggest thing to prepare for. Definitely.
Got to start getting the tables.
Yeah.
Mentally preparing.
Watching the live streams. Inside Food's been posting a lot of that. So
Ooh, there's a plug.
Keep up with that.
What's up, guys?
Another benefit of having the tables is anytime our friends come over to play, they always jump on the other table. So
What do you have? What tables do you have at home?
We have Gorlando, Tornado, Bonzini, and Leonhardt.
Wow,
nice.
Wow.
We're gonna maybe. I thought that I heard the Roberto Sport Revolution. They may have a couple of them at Louisiana State.
Cool.
And we may pluck one and bring it home.
Look.
Yeah, you then become an official training center with crawfish etouffee on the side. I love it. I'm in. Guys, from me, I what a big fan I am of all of you guys. I really enjoy commentating any of your matches and just simply hanging out, or maybe sitting at the bar with Keisha and having a drink here and there.
But your head off, yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. It was a wonderful evening, and so, but just again, just keep being yourselves. We are really loving the ride. I know you guys are as well, and the foosball community. You guys are such a big part of that, and so thank you for that, and thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We are so honored.
Thank you, really.
And as part of my goodbye, I want to say that I brought this idea up to Keisha about basically making a statement that Sully was going to win the multi-table women's singles championship. I brought it up. And I said, this is going to put a target on Sully's back. And Keisha said, because I'm from East San Jose, I'm from the street. And Keisha said, in the most street, like, I'm from the street too. She said, they could bring it on. I'll be right there to kick some ass if anyone wants to.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, the entire United States would be backing up Sully if it went like
that. They'll all be standing right behind me.
So it's going to be a good party in Nantes. I'll be there. And so, yeah. I got. I'll be watching you tear things up. I'll be watching everybody tear things up.
She's my favorite. Absolutely.
Yeah, no question.
Hey, we love you guys. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Well, guys, I think you can guarantee you've got a cheering section here. Although, as broadcasters, we're supposed to be objective,
That's right.
And neutral. But you know what? I'm sorry.
I make no claim to being any type of professional. By the way,
goes without saying. Goes without saying.
We will make exceptions when it comes to the Family Rue, the First Family of Foosball. By the way, how do you guys feel about that title, the First Family of Foosball?
We love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's the best, of course.
Awesome.
I mean, We just love it. We just love to play foosball, and we just happen to be a family, so we don't think of it as that big of a deal. But to others, it is, and we're honored. We really appreciate that.
Well,
we
let me know.
Represent that title best we can. For sure.
Let us know when you finally have the T-shirts made, because we'd love to buy them.
I didn't think of that. We need to try this.
Well, you always got to think about this as a business too. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but
well, I'm ashamed that Mark didn't coach us up on that.
Right?
Oh, Torres.
Next time.
All right.
Well, it's certainly a fantastic to have you be as a group with us at FoosTalk Live. And yes, Mark behaved himself beautifully, I got to say.
He did.
Great job. Good job, Mark.
It's all a facade. It's all a facade.
And collectively, we will see you, of course, at Worlds.
Yes, sir.
Labor Day weekend. We're going to have a blast. We're all going to be there. So let's do some hanging out. Maybe we'll do some live broadcasting as well together as a family.
Yeah, cool. Definitely.
Awesome. All right.
Y'all have a wonderful night.
Hey, you too.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right.
Stay cool.
Okay.
Stay safe and healthy. So yeah, guys, I got to say, this is I keep thinking to myself, well, we've done our best show. Well, I think we just
that was a good one, guys. Yeah, that was a good one. And the thing I drew from all of that is that Sully thinks her parents are cool.
Right.
Gosh, I can only hope for that.
How is that possible?
She's 18 and she still thinks her parents are cool. It's supposed to end like at 13.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
They're probably pretty cool. They're probably pretty cool is what it tells you.
I guess.
Yeah.
Man.
Or yeah.
Again, looking forward to seeing the Rues and everyone else at Tornado Championship, September 1st through 6th at the Clarion Inn in Lexington, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting close and getting excited about it.
We also have to talk about some other things that are coming up in the very immediate future. Just before Worlds, we have the world record is going to be set. Let's put it that way. This is the first attempt at setting a world record for the most number of people playing foosball at the same time or within the same 24-hour period. August 26th through 27th, Kickern, I believe is this Kickern, Com Kickern, and they're beginning that process of signing people up. And what can you guys tell us about Inside Foos and what's going to be happening with that event?
Well, we're supporting it, and we're going to help deliver live streams from multiple regions across the United States and hopefully across the globe. I know we have at least the United Kingdom set up so we're going to be bouncing back and forth with different types of coverage. And we're a huge advocate and participant in delivering this world record attempt. And we're going to drive visibility to foosball. Germany, gosh, there's so many great things going on in Germany right now. And this is the offspring of a big company out in Germany and the Com Kickern group, the Let's Foos group. So everyone should participate in this. It's the first one, and I think it might happen. I think it's going to keep happening. Be a part. Why not have a world record?
Right.
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Be a part of history. This is history making. It's never. I'm surprised it's never been attempted before. And what a great idea.
Yeah, it's a beautiful idea.
And they say world records are made to be broken.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's set a good one. Yeah.
No question. Any parting shots, Mark?
Yeah. Well, I want to recognize the Grandmaster pledges to our Kickstarter.
Right.
And I thought I'd do it in person this time and make sure these are people that delivered the highest pledge that you could deliver.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be they'll be memorialized, if that's not too morbid a word. They'll be remembered on our webpage, and they'll have a quote on our webpage. But we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 Grandmaster pledges.
Yeah.
And so 1, 2, 3. Actually, let's see. Spirit Mollis.
Protecto Flex. Love Spirit. Yep.
Right.
Yep. There's a Grandmaster pledge to our Kickstarter. So thank you, Spirit. Jose Torres and Renee Pacquiao, my parents.
Your parents
are Grandmaster pledges. Thank you, Mom and Dad. For
cool.
pledging to the Kickstarter.
Dad's got a mean pull shot.
He's got yes. He's a great. My parents. I love my parents. They're awesome. Dave Z from the United Kingdom.
The professor.
Dave Z. Yeah, the professor. Love you, Dave. Thank you so much for your support. And
always one of my favorite people.
Yeah, he's awesome and a great advocate. In the South Florida Foosball Club.
No way.
Yeah, they're Grandmaster pledges. So they
Tommy Brewer and those guys?
Yeah, they had fundraisers.
No kidding.
So Tommy spent money on us instead of buying a new hat.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, thank you guys. Those are our Grandmaster pledges. It's part of our commitment to you to recognize you multiple ways, including the Inside Foods public YouTube and the radio show, and finally on our webpage. So that's all I got. Thank you everybody for listening this week, and thank you for the Grandmaster pledges.
Oh, no question. So, Jim, what do you have for us?
No, just getting ready for the Tornado Championships. We'll be live starting on the 1st and going all the way through the 6th. And that's neat about that weekend, how it kind of builds, with some of the lower events, so to speak, beginning, and then we get into some of the pro events, which provide you with some of the great competition, especially at the Tornado Championships, where there's so many good pro-rated players. And then we kind of ease into the weekend, and the big stuff starts. And again, as I mentioned earlier, there is no better competition anywhere than the Tornado Championships. The level of play, my most thrilling matches I can ever remember, 8 out of 10 of them are probably from that event, and it's just looking forward to it. So many storylines, as Mark and I documented earlier, and just anticipating what should be a great event.
Oh, it's and with over 600 players, it's bound to be a lot of surprises. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, we're going to do this again next week, and looking forward to. I don't know how we're going to top this one, though. It's going to be tough.
Great show. Show. They were great. Rues were wonderful.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, our good friend Dave from England chiming in about his tournament coming up at Frog Bites Man. Did I get that right?
No.
Yeah, I love how he tied the French into that. I'm not sure how he tied it.
Man bites frog.
Man bites frog. Man bites frog. Yes.
Yeah.
I was testing you, Mark, just making sure.
Well done.
But no, guys, looking forward to next week. And once again, it's been a pleasure. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen in to FoosTalk Live when it's live. And of course, you'll be able to download this very soon. But we'll speak to you again next week right here at FoosTalk Live.
See everybody.
FoosTalk Live is a product of Inside Foos. All rights reserved. Brought to you in part by InsideFoos.com. Protectoflex. 518 Prince, Foosballers the Movie, Foosball Clubs USA, and the USTSO. Tune in again next week for another episode of FoosTalk Live.
In the meantime,
We'll see you foozin'.